Welcome to the Uncommon Transformation television series.
A highly educated society is very less likely difficult to administer. Hence, many administrations have spared no effort in getting their citizens to be educated, or at worst learn a trade that will make them self-reliant, independent, and less volatile, and easy to govern. In Nigeria, the present education curricula made education from primary to junior secondary 3 the basic level of education for the citizens, meaning that should a child's parents not be able to send him or her to further her education in the senior secondary class, he or she would have been able to read and write, and by extension be capable of learning any trade of their choice without much stress. In Akwa Ibom State, the Akwabi administration is not taking education of the citizens lightly, as it has declared education not only free but compulsory up to senior secondary 3. To support their policy, every school head in primary schools are paid subvention of 100 naira per term per child, while their secondary schools counterparts are paid 300 naira per child per term. The policy had witnessed an astronomical increase in enrollment figures in schools across the state. Courtesy of the Akwabi administration, school structures now wear a new look, making teaching and learning a pleasurable experience. The state governor, Chief Godswill Akpabio, says this is a legacy that would outlive his administration, as it is intended to take children of school age out of the streets and give them a sense of belonging.
We went into the educational arena and then we renovated and rehabilitated over 2,000 schools and built over 2,500 classroom blocks. And then we brought in something that is phenomenal, a revolution. We declared free and compulsory education for our children from primary school all the way to senior secondary school level. And the result, in less than 4 years, we tripled school enrollment. And we opened it up to all children of Nigerians who are resident in Akwa Ibom. Wow. So it's not only to my state alone. And the result is that is a phenomenal policy that has now resulted in our children who were serving as house boys, house girls and all that, and opened doors to orphans and destitutes and people who never thought they were going to have education in life. And today they have hope that they can become something that can also contribute their quota towards the building of Nigeria. So that policy on its own is also uncommon.
The children, teachers, parents and other stakeholders spoken to have been full of praises to Governor Akpabio for giving education a new lease of life in the state. Their appreciation is equal to the massive renovation of schools and construction of others in anticipation of the high student intake in their schools. This, they say, is unprecedented.
That education is the bedrock of every development, and for any society to grow, that society must be properly educated. And to that extent, education is a very expensive venture. And parents find it difficult to finance education of their children, especially in African countries, because of the number of children that families produce. So for a government to take on education and make it free and compulsory, it is highly commendable. So for our governor to have started this program about 5-6 years ago, I really commend him. And I pray that whoever comes to take over from him will sustain this free and compulsory education.
The uncommon transformation, especially in the education sector, is something that anybody will feel so proud of. By this particular process, His Excellency has written his name in gold and then redefined the very concept of the Akwa Ibom person.
There are so many people who didn't go to school up to the age of 30. I saw one starting from they finished primary 6. They couldn't further to secondary school because of this compulsory and yes, they are now in secondary school. In fact, some of them they are now in JS3, being so happy.
I really appreciate the governor for what he has done in Akwa Ibom State. He has provided free and compulsory education to all the students that are less privileged. Now, like people in the rural areas, they don't have money. Their parents can't afford school fees. But I thank God Solopolo Pabio for what he has done. He has made education free and compulsory so that children can go and acquire knowledge, and they can also show their talent.
I would like to tell the government that God will bless it for making free education for primary schools in the local government and children that parents that doesn't have money to pay their children's school fees. I should tell them thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, there is a whole lot of difference between the Uya High School that I knew when I came in 2008 and what is happening now. Like if you look at the school compound, it wasn't like this before 2009 when we had our ex-principal, Mr. Gabriel. Yeah, the whole school compound was a mess. Like if you look at the rooftops of the school, it was not as good as this. But now things have changed.
Because of the uncommon transformations, especially the area of free education, the enrollment figure of the school has risen tremendously, as greater than what we used to have in the past. Because those who were servants in different places in the country have come back to school. There are no more moving around the streets selling as it used to be in the past. So the enrollment figure has jumped tremendously.
Well, before now, this place was not a good sight to behold. The whole building were dilapidated, and in fact, it was even some of us teachers, we find it difficult to ask our friend to come and see us here. It was as bad as that. But we thank God for the present administration, headed by Governor Godswill Akpabio. Within the twinkle of an eye, in fact, it did not take up to 6 months. The whole place was renovated, and now we can have a beautiful building.
The past government did not remember this school. This is the only girls' boarding school in the city. So when our dear governments, led by Chief Dr. Godswill Akpabio, CON, came in, you remember that girls' education is very, very important. He came to our rescue, renovated all the structures you've seen. We don't lack anything. He gave us free blocks of toilets, water system, showers, borehole to take care of that situation. In the classroom you have, we renovated with fans and lights. So our children, our teachers, our non-teaching staff, we are very happy and we thank God for the gift of these governments. And we pray that God give him strength to do good things.
This massive investment in education by the Akpabio administration has paid off, as the state is one of the few to benefit from the federal government's Universal Basic Education UBE Special Vocational School for Street Boys. The project, which is cited in a Sianudum local government, had its groundbreaking performed by Governor Akpabio and witnessed by the Supervising Minister of Education, Nyesom Wike, and other dignitaries from the Federal Ministry of Education and UBEG and other stakeholders in education.
Vocational Training Center, Okana, Foundation Stone laid today on behalf of the federal government by Chief Barrister Joseph Wike, accompanied by His Excellency the Governor, the Supervising Minister of Education, this 31st day of January 2014, to the glory of God.
The Governor acknowledged President Goodluck Jonathan's transformation agenda in the education sector, and most especially for approving the siting of the Special Vocational School in Akwa Ibom State to enable the boy child to acquire various skills and become self-reliant in future. Akpabio, himself a lover of education, having invested so much in the sector in the last 6.5 years, noted that the gesture will not only boost his administration's huge investment in the sector, but also be of immense benefit to the boy child and the society at large.
And therefore I want to join the Commissioner of Education, not just to thank Mr. President, but to appreciate Mr. President for taking education as a priority in Nigeria. For the first time in the history of this country, through this minister here, a president has recognized the problem of children in Nigeria, 10-point-something million out of school, and about 9 million of them in northern part of Nigeria. And he has completed 300 schools for the Al-Majiri children as I'm talking to you now. At least 120 of them have already been commissioned. 300 unprecedented secondary schools built for children in the north already. And also the president has thought of the rest of us in southeast and south-south by approving this vocational training center for us. Yes, it's a place where children will go to school, but will also learn different skills. And if you decide not to go to university, when you are through here, you can employ yourself. You can also employ others to work for you as your pocket expands. And I want to say that this is a great initiative that has never been seen before. This will also help us to expand on our transformation in the educational sector in Akwa Ibom. Honourable Minister, it's a very rare privilege for me. I thank the National Assembly for approving this program and for making available the appropriate budget to cater for this.
The Supervising Minister of Education, Nyesom Wike, said that the project, which would be completed in 6 months' time, would help to expand the educational transformation of the state. Wike applauded Akpabio for imbibing the transformation agenda of President Jonathan through quality education in the state.
And Mr. President has directed that if there's one governor who has keyed into his transformation agenda, it is the governor of Akwa Ibom State. And that is why Mr. President has said that for a groundbreaking ceremony of this school in the South-South, we must kickstart from Akwa Ibom State. And, Your Excellency, it is very clear that when you see good thing, you don't need anybody to tell you. What you've done in Akwa Ibom State is unprecedented. While I was coming with you, riding with you, I said that your successor will be in trouble. And I will have offered to continue praying for your successor because I don't know what you will do that the people of Akwa Ibom will be happy with what I've seen on ground. Your Excellency, what we are doing today, you recollect that because of UNESCO statistics, that not less than 10.5 million Nigerians do not have access to basic education. And that out of that 10.5 million Nigerians, at least 9 million of them come from the north, which is why we concentrated from 2011 when Mr. President came on board to make sure that we vigorously pursue building schools in the north that will cater and give access to these our children who are roaming about the street in the north. As we are talking today, Your Excellency, last year, through Mr. Vice President, we have handed over not less than 100 of those schools to the states in the north in order to give access to basic education to all these children who are going about begging. And some people have asked, when you have such a program, what do you do for the people of the southeast and the south-south? And because from the southeast, it shows that in our own part of the country, most of the girls go to school, particularly in the southeast, but the boys always drop out. And so what is the program we have in order to accommodate these boys? So what we are doing today is to say that, look, we have gone beyond reading and writing. There must be vocational curriculum that when these children are given access, they will not only come to read and learn, but they have to be skilled. That's what we call skill acquisition. So if any child comes to this school today, it is not just coming to read and write without having any skill. That child at the end of the day will know that having finished and do not want to follow his education, he can employ himself and not depending on anybody. And that is the emphasis the federal government plays, that we must have technical and vocational education. I want to thank the chairman and members of the implementation committee for their vigorous effort in making sure that this dream has become a reality. And I'm saying that it should not be a project where people will say that, oh, we have done the groundbreaking ceremony and nothing has happened. Luckily, the contractor is here. This project will not take us more than 6 months. This project will not take us more than 6 months. So the contractor and UBEC, of course, you know.
The Executive Secretary, Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, Alhaji Diko Suleiman, said Nigeria has the highest population of school children in the world. The reason, he said, accounted for efforts being put in place to lay a solid foundation for their future. He maintained that the aim of the vocational school is to provide opportunity for the boy child who cannot get into the university to train in vocational programs to reduce poverty and to ensure that those challenges of school leavers are curtailed.
Being a foremost state in the Mr. President's transformation agenda, I believe that the very vibrant education stakeholders in Akwa Ibom are aware that the federal government has taken steps to integrate out-of-school boys in the southeast and south-south states into the UBE program. The aim of this integration program is to provide opportunities for boys who either dropped out of school or were never enrolled from the onset to access and complete a vocational-based UBEC program. The boys' vocational schools, when fully operational, is expected to offer special vocational education for boys in line with the specific business and economic priorities of the host environment. The special vocational schools would be adequately equipped and is designed to be a full boarding institution. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I wish to mention with delight that out of the 11 states of the southeast and south-south, a geopolitical zone that are expected to provide land for the construction of these schools, 5 states only have provided the land. And it is worth noting that Akwa Ibom is the first to provide the land.
Commissioner for Education, Akwa Ibom State, Professor Atam Basiantai, who expressed joy of the people for sighting of the project in the state, said this will promote sound and qualitative education in the state. even as she lauded President Jonathan for adopting the policy of establishing vocational schools for the boy child, stressing that this will bring democratic dividends to all Nigerians.
With such lofty educational enhancement programs, the sky will be the limit for Nigerian children who are out of school. Mr. President has successfully constructed a solid base for charting the way forward and giving hope to our boys who are out of school for their sound and qualitative educational attainment, which eventually will usher them into the world of achievers. Indeed, it is gratifying to state here that the Akwa Ibom State Governor, a leader with foresight and deep passion for education, has through his bold patriotic initiative keyed into this dynamic program of the federal government. This is visibly seen in the implementation of the free and compulsory education program with its attendant maximum gains, which will accrue to our children as a means of laying sound and solid educational fortunes for our future generation.
Earlier, the supervising Minister of Education had paid a courtesy call on Governor Akpabio in Uyo, where he revealed the motive behind the building of the vocational schools, chief of which is to reduce the number of children roaming the streets. He pointed out that the Jonathan administration had to tackle the situation first of all in the northern part of the country by building 300 vocational schools, while the federal government is kick-starting vocational education in the south-south from Akwa Ibom State to other states.
You are aware that when this government came into being in 2011, part of Mr. President's intervention, the basic education subsector is to reduce the number of children who are running around the streets. The UNESCO statistic has it that we have not 10.5 million Nigerians who are running about the streets who do not have any access to basic education. And part of what we're doing in the south and the southeast is to also build vocational centers that will have basic education, but particularly train our boys in terms of skilled labor, so that at the end of the day, it will not be centered just on reading and writing. We want to go beyond the literacy. Beyond the literacy, where you can identify numbers, you can read and write. At the end of the day, you may not be able to follow education.
Responding, Governor Akpabio emphasized the need for governments at all levels in the country to train youths in skills acquisition programs to enable them to be self-employed in future. He commended President Goodluck Jonathan for making education a top priority of his administration and called on Nigerians to appreciate the administration's transformation agenda in all sectors rather than dwelling solely on negative stories by the media.
I'm also congratulating the President, Commander-in-Chief Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, who has taken the plight of the Nigerian child as a major priority in his administration. Never in the history of this country had any government built so many schools. Look at the number of universities he started at once, particularly in the northern parts of Nigeria. And then government look at already completed up to 300 secondary schools, which will hand over to their martyrs. And this, for me, will remain an indelible record, never seen in the history of this country since 1960.
This federal government's gesture complements Governor Akpabio's declaration of free and compulsory education, which has given every Akwa Ibom child and even children of other Nigerians resident in the state ample opportunity to go to school free of charge from primary to senior secondary levels. This, indeed, is uncommon in the history of Akwa Ibom State.
Uncommon Transformation television series brings to you the latest information of the monumental achievements of the Governor Akpabio-led administration. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube to read the latest news, watch amazing videos and listen to in-depth analysis and interviews with the men and women working hand in hand with stakeholders to make Akwa Ibom State better. You can also log on to our website www.uncommontransformation.tv for more information. Uncommon Transformation television series, bringing to you the right and current information when you need it.